Hello and welcome back everybody to today's episode with Winning Lifestyles. This is Nick back at you again today, teaching you how you can save a lot of money by doing your own oil changes, or how you could also save a few bucks by just buying oil and bringing it to the mechanic yourself. Now, I got to say, it just should not be that expensive because oil changes are ridiculously overpriced. I mean, I understand why. It's the most important piece of maintenance that you should do for your car. Like if you only had the money to do one thing and one thing alone, it should be the oil changes. But I was just sick and tired of living in California, not knowing anything about cars, taking them to the dealerships and taking them to the small mechanic shops. And I realized after learning how to do my own oil change that they were just stealing from me or cheating me. And I don't like it when people cheat me. Ain't nobody need no bloke going under your car telling you they did something and they didn't do squat. So if you stick around with us till the very end, we're going to show you exactly how much it costs to do your own oil changes and how much it costs if you just buy the oil yourself and bring it to the mechanic versus just taking it to like a dealership or some kind of small shop and getting it changed over there anyways. But before we get started, what I want to tell you is make sure you got your bum shirt on and you didn't shower and make yourself look pretty or anything, because you're going to want to shower after going through this process. It's pretty dirty and grimy. And I got to tell you, if you have all the right tools, and I mean it, do not save money and cheap out on a bunch of crappy tools. They will waste a lot more time and energy in the long run. You can get the whole thing done in less than 30 minutes. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so to get started, what you're going to first need is the oil. Check to make sure that the weight and viscosity match what you need for your car, and grab a couple of jack stands for safety and an oil drain pan to grab up that mucky oil. And don't forget to grab the oil filter. You're going to need to make sure it matches the car that you drive, because you can't just put anything willy-nilly up in your car. Don't forget to lay out all your tools ahead of time. We went ahead and put out a breaker bar just in case we needed extra leverage, and a new drain plug and a few washers just in case we stripped the old one, because you don't want to leave a stripped one on there. And grab a few socket extensions too, just in case you can't reach, and some solid oil filter wrenches. Now we like to keep 2 socket wrenches on hand, 1/2 inch and 1/3 inch, and the correct socket size, with a rubber mallet to free up anything that gets stuck, like the drain plug, as you're trying to turn it. And probably the most important part is having a solid jack. The bigger and stronger and heavier it is, the better it's going to be and the faster you're going to be. Because this old one that we used to use was great until it kind of broke. So once you got that all set up, go ahead and pull up your car into your driveway or your garage, wherever you're going to do your oil change. And then make sure that you pop the hood, lift it up, make sure you prop it up with the little stand so it doesn't fall on your head, and make sure that you're unscrewing the oil cap so that you can easily drain the oil out, and also give it a quick look to see if any sludge built up on the inside. Luckily ours was clean. Go ahead and pull the dipstick so you can get a look at how much oil's in there, if some was burning off or anything, and to also look at how nasty that oil is. Make sure you're changing your oil every 5,000 to 10,000 miles per manufacturer's recommendations. Once you got that going, make sure you put some bricks behind your tires or something to stop it from rolling backwards, because safety first. And then find the little part underneath your car where you can easily jack it up. Like you can see right here, that's the jack point for the front of the car on a 2012 Honda Accord. Get your jack lined up and go ahead and start pumping it up. This is where having a solid jack comes really in handy, because it goes a lot quicker and it takes a lot less energy. Once it's high enough, go ahead and get your jack stands ready. What you're going to be doing is trying to put it right underneath on either side of the car. As you can see, there are dedicated points where you can put your jack. You can also check the manual. You want to be careful not to put it in the wrong spot, because it's going to start bending the frame of your car. But there should be little indents that indicate, hey, I can put a jack stand here. And if it doesn't come up all the way, that's okay. Just take a step back and lift the car up a little bit more until you can finally raise the jack stand all the way up. This is for safety, so make sure that you're really taking care of yourself and that you're not alone, because nobody wants to get crushed underneath the car. Safety first. Next, to make sure that you don't get oil all over your garage floor, your driveway, grab a bunch of doggy pads. These are seriously great. They sop up all the oil and they are really easy to dispose of afterwards. Now, when you start going under the car, try and find the oil drain plug. If you're not sure, you can always find this by checking your user manual and also checking a YouTube video. And as you saw, that was the oil filter there too. So when you're getting ready to pull it out, go ahead and pull your drain pan underneath to catch any sludge that's coming out. Grab your breaker bar and start to twist that sucker off. Just do it enough so that you can untwist the rest of it by hand, and be careful because the oil is hot. Now this is where having pads really help clean up any mess, and just let the oil drip out. It could take anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes, and grab your oil wrench and get that ready. I personally recommend this Motive X tool one. It's totally worth it. Links in the description. It really clamps on to the filter if it's stuck, and it pulls it right off. And make sure you still got your oil drain pan around, because as you can see, it comes off super quick and oil just flushes out. Don't worry about pulling it all the way off. You can get your hand in there and just twist it the rest of the way, and then dump the rest of the oil that's inside of it into your drain pan, because there's a ton. Now make sure that you're putting quality oil in there. All of the newer cars post like 2012, they use advanced full synthetic oil. So to make sure that you're prepping the new oil filter, go ahead and open up your oil and start to fill it up with some of that fresh stuff. Be careful not to spill too much of it. You want to fill it up about halfway. Some people fill it up about 3/4 of the way. Some people don't fill it up at all. I've learned that it's just preference nowadays, but this is how I was taught, so I stick to it. Now, once you got some oil on there, make sure that you put your finger around the rim and oil up that O-ring so that you can take it off easier when you're doing the next oil change. And look at the difference between the new and the old oil. Just ew. Go ahead and clean off that drain plug if you can still use it and the head isn't stripped, and to change out that washer. That's something that you want to change each and every single time, just to make sure the seal is tight and oil doesn't leak out randomly in the middle of the road. You can pick up a box of these from Amazon or any auto parts shop. Just make sure it matches for your car. Now go ahead and put that new fresh oil filter in and screw it back. Try and do it by hand with a paper towel and get as tight as you can. The recommendation is typically about 3/4 of the way past the first point of resistance, and I end up usually using my oil filter wrench just to get it just a tiny bit snug, but not too tight that I can't take it off. Then comes your oil drain plug. Tighten it as much as you can by hand, and then finish it off with your wrench. The easy part, get your funnel, wipe things down with a paper towel so you don't get any dirt in there, and then get ready to pour some oil back in. Now, check the specifications in your manual. We need about 4.5 quarts for the Honda Accord, so we're gonna go ahead and pour it in now. Try your best not to spill and get every single drop. Now once that's done, go ahead and screw back your oil cap, and then feel free to let the car back down. So go ahead and snap those jack stands back, and then remove the bricks behind the car. And go ahead and lower the car with your jack. Okay, now what you need to do is go ahead and start the car, let it run for a few minutes, and while that's going, go ahead and dump the rest of that nasty oil back into the original jug. You can bring it back out to any auto store or Walmart or something, and they'll recycle it for you. Now, after you've let the car run for a little bit and the oil has now started circulating throughout the entire engine, go ahead and check the dipstick and make sure that the level is between those two dots. You want to try and get it as close to the top dot as you can, but don't do too much, because if you overfill, your engine will work too hard and could break. And we're done. Last thing you want to remember is to reset the oil life meter on your car. For Hondas, that just means you don't start the car up all the way, you turn it into the second position, and then you hold that button until you see some flashing going on. And then once both start flashing, then you let go and you press again and you hold, and it should reset, and then you'll get back to 100%. Now, I promised that I was going to break it down and show you how much money you could save if you're doing it by yourself, and also if you just buy your own oil and filter and bring it to a small mom and pop shop. Now, if you take a look, right, if you go out and buy it at the store, typically the cost of oil is anywhere from $12 all the way up to $22. And this is for the good stuff. I'm talking Mobile One, full synthetic, all the hoo-ha. Make sure you're looking up to see if there are any rebates out there. Mobile One usually rolls out a rebate where they give anywhere from $10 all the way to $17 back for a combination of if you're buying just the oil or an oil with an oil filter. So that's why the oil filter price can cost you anywhere from $4 to $10. And also remember that you can check out your local dealers and pick up an official OEM one if you wanted to too. There's a ton of coupons out there. Our local Toyota does 3 filters for $12, so that comes out to be $4 a pop. And our local Honda dealer is pricing closer to about $5 to $6 a filter for the genuine stuff. And it's okay if you don't see a coupon with your specific local dealer. You can typically have them match and use that coupon from another place. So when you add it all up, doing it yourself costs you anywhere from about $16 at a max of $32, and that's if you don't use any rebates or anything. But if you're just trying to go and bringing it to a mom and pop shop and, wanting to get to know your local mechanics and build a relationship, and now that you know how oil changes work, you'll know if they're trying to cheat you, if they're trying to do you right. The costs are essentially the same, but this time you can tack on anywhere between $6 to $20 in labor. The longer your relationship with them, the cheaper it's going to be. We have a local shop who does it for just $6 for us, and it's in and out in about 20 minutes. So that brings our cost down to about $22 all the way to $41. But for dealers and small shops, if you're coming in without bringing your own oil and your own filter, here's some things that you got to be wary about. Full synthetic oil is so expensive for some reason whenever you buy it from them. They're charging anywhere from $5 to $6 all the way to $10 a quart. And you don't even know if it's Mobile One quality or Valvoline or some kind of other lower grade oil. And they charge you like $5 to $8 per filter if you didn't bring one of your own. And labor costs anywhere from $20 to $30. And remember, this is on average for about a 4 to 5 quart car like the Honda Accord. If you're driving like the bigger SUVs or the minivans that take 6 to 8 quarts of oil, this can cost way more. So our average cost is around $50 to $79 if you're going to these places, plus extra if you're driving a much bigger car like an SUV or a van. And for our Accord, I'm typically pricing around about like $50 to $60 after I find all the coupons and whatever local special is. So it's not that bad, but you could be doing it for about half the amount, feel good about yourself, and know what's going on with your car. So at the end of the day, it's totally up to you. We recommend being safe and just buying your own oil and filter and building relationships with your local mom and pop shops, because it's all about supporting that local business as well as saving yourself a few bucks and a bit of time in the long run. And just like that, folks, now you know how to do an oil change for about $20. And that's for full synthetic. None of that conventional, semi-synthetic junk. Full synthetic. And I know you're probably thinking, but Nick, this is only for the Honda Accord. Well, actually, the general idea of doing all these oil changes is exactly the same, no matter what car you're looking at, whatever you're doing. But please make sure you check out a YouTube tutorial for how to do it exactly for your make and model. We are not liable for anything that happens to your car, so make sure you do your due diligence, do your research, and check it out first. But it's actually pretty easy and straightforward. Check out the manual. And if you really do like our content, we really appreciate you taking the time to check us out. Please do us a huge favor and smash the like button so it really helps out the YouTube algorithm so that we can help more people like you find videos that save you money on everyday purchases. And if you want to see more, do us a favor, hit the subscribe, ring the notification bell, and leave a comment down below with any questions you could possibly have. Until the next one, peace.